Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Carter. I am a board member for the Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome you to the State of the City address tonight. I'd like to first of all thank our sponsors for the evening, South San Francisco Scavenger. Thank you so much for making this happen. There's a great little spread out there. I enjoyed the wine particularly, but hey, that's me. Also, we have a great event coming up. Our chamber mixer for Christmas this year is going to be at Hensley, which is this wonderful group in town that sets up events. They're going to have Hensley's Holiday Extravaganza, and it's Christmas mixer on the 11th of December, and everybody's welcome to come. And if we know anything about Hensley, that's going to be a great party, including music and dancing. And you know I'm going to be there for that, right? Because we love that. So, I think, what? Are you ready? I forgot something. Oh, yes. Thank you. I got to do this. First of all, I'd like to invite South San Francisco Scavenger Company up here, please, the representatives. Yee. What? Okay, this is a certificate of appreciation is presented to South San Francisco Scavenger Company to gratefully acknowledge your generosity in sponsoring the City of Brisbane State of the City.
Woo-hoo. Thank you very much. Where are we going? Oh,
right over here.
Allison. I'm here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. South San Francisco Scavenger, I mean, any event that I've ever come to them to in any venue, they've always come out and supported us a lot. So I really appreciate, having businesses like that in the community that help our community. So without further ado, introducing our amazing Mayor, Madison Davis. Woo!
Thank you, Dan. Good evening, and thank you for joining me for this year's State of the City address. I'd like to thank the Brisbane Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event and South San Francisco Scavenger for sponsoring. I also want to acknowledge my colleagues in the room, Councilmember Karen Cunningham and Mayor Pro Tem Terry O'Connell. It is my honor to deliver this year's State of the City address, and tonight I'll recap Brisbane's successes and challenges of 2019 and focus on some key topic areas, including capital improvement projects, development at Sierra Point, the Baylands Review Process, and special community events. First, we'll start with capital improvements, which are usually building and engineering projects that create an asset. Capital improvement projects typically exceed $50,000, and they usually include constructing or upgrading buildings, roads, bridges, structures, etc. One of our upcoming projects will be addressing the intersection of San Bruno Avenue and Bayshore. After much feedback from the community regarding unsafe conditions at the intersection and careful consideration from the Complete Street Safety Committee and the City Council, we have decided to no longer allow left turns at San Bruno and Bayshore, along with no U-turns allowed going northbound on Bayshore. In studying this area, we determined that a majority of the safety issues and accidents resulting in this location were a result of U-turns and left turns. Buses and shuttles will still be permitted to make the turn, and they will have a protected lane that they can go into. Safety improvements will also occur along the city's safe routes to school, including insetting medallions every 50 feet to mark the routes. Improvements to crossings and clearing obstacles along the route will be implemented in late winter, early spring timeframe. Brisbane was awarded $245,000 as a part of the region's Safe Routes to School and Green Streets Infrastructure Pilot Program. The program aims to demonstrate that green infrastructure can be cost-effectively integrated and traditional safe routes to school infrastructure projects to enhance safety and achieve stormwater pollutant reductions. Other safety improvements include adding multiple rumble stripes, a dedicated bike lane, and widening the painted median on Guadalupe Canyon Parkway, which the city received approximately $100,000 in grants for. This work will take place next fall, with the roadway improvements constructed between Bayshore and the city limits, just past Carter. The council also funded improving the safety of the pedestrian stairways in town, such as the one that runs from Mono Street to Sierra Point. Some of the wooden steps were replaced, and the concrete was also replaced last month. And just last week, a handrail was installed. The council also funded the building of a new stairway from Tulare to Santa Clara, which is currently in the design stage. Moving on to the upgrade of existing systems, residents in the upper streets are familiar with the water main replacement project. Phase 1 concluded earlier this year for portions of Humboldt, Sierra Point, Annis, and all of Thomas. Phase 2 is getting underway just after Thanksgiving, affecting portions of Annis, Harold, Kings, Margaret, and Paul. The purpose of the water main replacement project is to upgrade the city's aging drinking water infrastructure and also to increase fire flow capacity in the water mains of these upper streets. To that end, the existing 6-inch water mains will be replaced with 8-inch and 10-inch mains. We understand that this year-long project is going to affect residents to a great degree, especially on a roadway like Kings, which is so narrow. But we heard concerns from our residents and at the neighborhood workshops we held last month, and increased outreach is being done. The city plans to deliver door hangers, which I have a sample of right here, to all the affected properties in the next few weeks, so residents are fully aware of the impacts and can start planning for them now. We are looking into alternative areas for residents to park in town when their portion of the street is impacted. I encourage you to sign up for updates on that project by subscribing at tinyurl.com/blast321. Next, we have the master planning underway for Guadalupe Valley Trail, also known as Crocker Park Trail. The improvements will integrate recreation elements, open space, and public art. Funding for some of this project comes from the sale of city property on South Hill to Shanky Bakery. The Guadalupe Valley Trail will allow for greater connectivity between central Brisbane and the Northeast Ridge. The capital improvement project ties in specifically with public art. The Public Art Committee has selected a muralist to paint the quarter pipe wall at the skate park adjacent to Old County Road. The Public Art Selection Committee reviewed 8 proposals before selecting Galen Smith as the artist. To ensure the work of the art reflects Brisbane, Galen will be making 5 to 7 trips to Brisbane from San Francisco to speak with community members prior to submitting his proposed concept plan. And he was here yesterday, and I believe he was also here today. So if you see him, he's sitting by the skate park, and mosey on over and have a chat with him. So now we're on to the biggest project facing Brisbane, and we all know what that is, the Baylands. This past spring, the city sponsored 2 workshops in partnership with Home for All, a community collaborative addressing housing challenges in San Mateo County. The first workshop took place on March 21st with 87 participants in attendance. This event promoted dialogue around housing and the community-wide forum. This was the first community-wide forum since the passage of Measure JJ in November 2018. So to recap, the measure allows for 1,800 to 2,200 residential units and up to 7 million square feet of commercial development, along with a host of other criteria the developer must comply with. I encourage you to grab a Measure JJ fact sheet, which are out in the lobby, if you want to read more about what's entailed in the measure. We hosted the second Home for All workshop on May 5th and narrowed down the housing conversation to help us better understand the community's values as we move forward with the Baylands. Now, I want to take a look at the Baylands Review Process diagram. which was handed out at the second community conversation in May, stemming from feedback from the first conversation where participants expressed a desire to have a good graphic representation of the process ahead. There are also handouts available of this diagram in the lobby. We're currently in the middle of the green area, or developer action areas. UPC is preparing technical studies such as soil, traffic, water use, etc., ahead of additional planning efforts, and the city and the public will review UPC's plan to address site remediation, which must be approved by the Regional Water Quality Control Board and the Department of Toxic Substances Control. The city and the public will also review UPC's plans for closure of the landfill and necessary cleanup efforts, which must be approved by the Regional Water Quality Control Board and the San Mateo County Health System. After this work is completed, the developer will submit a draft specific plan development agreement to the city. An environmental review and public comment period process will follow, and then the City Council will hold public hearings on the final EAR specific plan and development agreement. The Council can approve, deny, or recommend revisions to the final plans. Final City Council actions will likely take place 24 months after the draft specific plan and development agreement are submitted by the developer. We anticipate the developer will submit these in spring or summer of 2020. On the November 21st agenda, Council will be hearing from UPC, who will be giving a presentation regarding their proposed specific plan, which is the culmination of feedback they received over the course of their 3 workshops, as well as their open space survey. Sierra Point has also been quite full of activity lately as developments are underway for buildings containing biotech labs. On the north side, Sangamo Therapeutics completed a major tenant improvement to occupy the 7,000 Marina Boulevard building with healthcare research and development. To the south, the shore at Sierra Point is under construction and will be HCP's 560,000 square foot research and development campus on 23 acres of land between the marina and the Doubletree Hotel. The first 2 buildings are nearing completion, and tenants are planned to occupy those buildings in early 2020. Foundation construction has begun on the other 3 R&D buildings and a retail and garage building, with campus completed projected for 2021. The retail space will total approximately 22,000 square feet and will include a cafe facing out to the newly constructed Bay Trail and the water. The campus will be open with both passive and active recreation opportunities, including various walking paths, outdoor dining, as well as basketball and bocce ball courts. I'm really excited for that part. Another upcoming development at Sierra Point is Phase 3's property at the northwest corner of Sierra Point along Marina Boulevard, which will provide for about 423,000 square feet of research and development space, including 12,000 square feet of gym available to the public, and outdoor public recreation areas, including an expanded Bay Trail. We're anticipating building permits submittals in the next few months, and that construction will likely begin in mid-2020. The construction of the new library will also be finished soon, however, not by the end of this year as anticipated. Unforeseen construction delays resulted in the scheduled opening being pushed back. However, I know when it's finished, the building will be something we can all be proud of and will enjoy for years to come. I'm really looking forward to the library's public art installation, which will be comprised of hanging glass butterflies, which will be illuminated by both natural light and LEDs to create reflections in the entryway. The Friends of the Brisbane Library have been busy fundraising for the library, selling t-shirts, donor tiles, lemonade, and hosting events such as ice cream socials. They're at $85,000 raised, so kudos to them. The tiles will be displayed on the donor wall, which will be located in the courtyard area of the library. And if you haven't secured a donor tile yet, head to tinyurl/library donor form. And I'm told that we have a few Where the Hell is Brisbane shirts still left over from Day in the Park. So if you missed out on getting one, connect with the Friends of the Brisbane Library, and I'm sure they can They can get you well equipped. So the library, once constructed, will incorporate modern, energy-efficient building design. In similar fashion, the city will be considering how to ensure commercial buildings in Brisbane are more energy efficient by addressing energy and water use. A draft ordinance is expected to be presented to council later this month, which takes into account feedback from building owners that attended workshops and/or provided comments to staff over this past spring and summer. Speaking of energy efficiency, the City of Brisbane was recently awarded with a Platinum Level Beacon Award by the Institute for Local Government for its voluntary efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, save energy, and adopt policies that promote sustainability. The City of Brisbane received the Platinum Level Beacon Award for the following activities. We achieved greenhouse gas reductions at facilities by 32%, 20% in community greenhouse gas reductions, 21% in energy savings at city facilities, and 24% in natural gas savings at city facilities as well. And having at least 6 out of the Institute's 10 sustainability practices having been completed or ongoing. This award is a testament to our city's commitment to do what we can locally to combat the effects of climate change. And I was honored to be there to receive this award with council members Conway and Cunningham. One of the projects that helped us achieve platinum status is the completion and successful operation of a 168 kilowatt solar energy system installed atop Brisbane City Hall as part of the city's comprehensive sustainability and energy efficiency program, otherwise known as the city's Climate Action Plan. In the first 6 months of operation, the city's solar energy system outperformed expected estimates, producing 166,000 kilowatt hours of clean power to date. On an annual basis, the system is expected to offset nearly all of the electricity used by the city's administration offices. According to estimates provided by the EPA, the system will displace approximately 9 million pounds of carbon dioxide over the next 20 years, the equivalent CO2 emissions from nearly 10 million miles driven by an average passenger vehicle. I'm going to clap for that one. One of my favorite things about being mayor this year was the opportunity I had to host children from Silver Spot, BES, and Lippman. I explained to our visitors the responsibilities of being the mayor, some projects that we have in the works, and how they can get involved and make a difference in their community. This past year, we hosted 4 different classes from BES, along with Lippman 8th graders in April, as part of Students in Business and Government Day. And we also had little Hayden and his friends in May. Hayden's dad won the Silver Spot auction item at the annual luau, which allowed Hayden to be mayor for a day and treat 5 of his friends to a behind-the-scenes tour of City Hall, culminating in a pizza party outside the council chambers. Hayden and his friends filled in the blanks to their very own proclamation and deemed Thursday, May 23rd, as official ice cream day in Brisbane. And he received that proclamation in the mail. I know that I will be observing that every single year. And I did observe it this year. At the top of my list of accomplishments this year was hosting our first ever LunaFest at Mission Blue in March. LunaFest began in 2000 by Emeryville-based company Cliff Bar as a way to support female filmmakers who are lacking representation in mainstream media. Cliff Bar offers the films to organizations on the condition that money from ticket sales goes to a women's cause. We partnered with the Lions Club and dozens of local businesses to raise $30,000 for scholarships. These scholarships went to women pursuing degrees in male-dominated fields. We were able to double the amount of money the Lions Club was able to give this year and raised more money than 325 screenings that have occurred in 2018 and 2019 across the globe. And we did it in Brisbane. It's so great. I hope that we can continue to hold that title in 2020, and I couldn't have executed such a seamless event without the help of Stuart Schillinger, Noreen Leake, Angel Ibera, Terry O'Connell, Sharon Boggs, Renee Marmion, and all of the Lions. So thank you so much. Another big moment that occurred this year was in June, when I had the privilege of raising the pride flag for the first time in Brisbane's history. It flew right below the U.S. flag and was a wonderful sight to behold as community members gathered together at the community park to remember the events of Stonewall Inn. The pride flag will continue to be flown each June in celebration of Pride Month and to convey the message that the City of Brisbane stands for diversity, acceptance, and inclusion for all. We had a few events this year that we welcomed new community members. I was able to take part in a ribbon cutting ceremony for Kaliba, Brisbane's first cannabis business, who is successfully running a distribution facility in the industrial park. Their facility here in Brisbane was the first fully licensed one of its kind from San Francisco down to San Jose, where the trusted, vertically integrated company operates a massive 95,000 square foot cultivation facility. We wish them much continued success and appreciate their commitment to the Brisbane community. The other community member is not necessarily new, but has been absent from the community for some time, and that is none other than Jimmy the Raccoon. He was officially welcomed home to Brisbane on February 23rd, where he's been greeting passersby at Castaños Canyon, or what many refer to as Raccoon Canyon. About 80 residents and guests gathered in Castaños Canyon to witness the unveiling of the previously stolen, but now reproduced, raccoon statue honoring late community activist and artist Byron Jensen. The bronze statue was originally commissioned and funded by the community, dedicated to the children of Brisbane and created by famous Brisbane artist Spiro Anagiros in 1989. The dozen or so children present participated in the exciting countdown and removal of the tarp over the structure. Byron's son, Penfield Jensen, flew all the way from Indiana for the event. He recollected stories of his mom and growing up in Brisbane, and everyone got a good laugh when he told the story of Jensen's family pet, a raccoon named Jimmy. Another special guest in attendance that day was Spiro's wife, Maria Anagiros. This was truly a memorable event that I was honored to participate in. Thank you to the Parks and Rec Department for your help in arranging that morning. Another event that the Parks and Recreation Department is hosting, which is brand new, is the Star Decorating Workshop. This year, we want to encourage every home and business in Brisbane to put up a star, and we want to help make that happen. In partnership with the Brisbane Chamber of Commerce and star maker Bob Wilson, who provides wood frame stars at no cost, the city will be hosting a star decorating workshop on Sunday, November 17th at Mission Blue from 2 to 4 p.m. The workshop will include free wooden star frames, light fasteners, craft supplies, and staff to assist you with attaching your lights. If you have a star already, you can still participate and decorate one for a neighbor who doesn't. There will also be miniature stars on hands for kids to decorate. It's sure to be a festive event to ring in the holiday season. These stars, which have led to Brisbane being known as City of the Stars, have been championed by volunteers in the community for the past 84 years. According to a recent post by Dolores Gomez, this tradition started in the mid-1930s, high up on the hill on Kings Road. Mr. Gagner put up a lighted star for the Christmas holiday. Gagner's star stood out boldly, as there were not many houses high on the hill back then. Soon, other residents in town began to put stars up on their homes. By the early 1940s, founding Chamber Board members Arthur Kennedy and Dick Schroeder, with original members Frank Walsh and Dick Hosking, started distributing the stars free of charge to Brisbane's businesses and residents. Frank Walsh and Dick Hosking assembled simple 5-point, 10-foot stars in the back of the Brisbane hardware store. Nowadays, star maker Bob Wilson volunteers his time in making the stars. Chamber member Dan Sorrentino contributes a good portion of his time as well. He delivers the wood frame materials to Bob, which are generously donated by Chamber member Golden State Lumber. This leads us to one of the final topics of tonight, and that is spotlighting this year's Volunteer of the Year. Each year, the city recognizes a Brisbane resident as its Volunteer of the Year, who the ad hoc City Council subcommittee selects after carefully reviewing letters of recommendation from community members. The Volunteer of the Year is bestowed upon a dedicated community member that has demonstrated ongoing commitment to the city of Brisbane. They act with the purpose of community in mind and give selflessly to others. I had the pleasure of awarding Nancy Loxamana with the city's 2019 Volunteer of the Year award at the annual day in the park. Nancy has volunteered her time towards numerous efforts both in town and supporting surrounding communities. She is a regular volunteer for Bike to Work Day in May, a frequent contributor towards city beautification efforts, a volunteer for Casa of San Mateo, advocating for children in the foster care system, and she supports Hope House, assisting women in need, and of course, so much more. Nancy is truly a selfless individual and represents the spirit of this award. So thank you, Nancy, for your dedicated service and for improving the quality of life in so many ways for others. This year, the ad hoc City Council Subcommittee also decided to recognize a Youth Volunteer of the Year and bestowed an award upon this deserving individual. The Youth Volunteer of the Year award is presented to an outstanding young person who has demonstrated a strong commitment to helping others and who serves an example to their peers. Chaya Bella David was the recipient of the inaugural award for Youth Volunteer of the Year. She has strengthened the community through service, encourages environmental preservation, and advocates for social equity. Chaya also serves as a youth member of Friends of the Brisbane Library Board, fundraised $14,000 for the new Brisbane Library, is part of Emerge, volunteers at the SF Zoo, climbed 54 flights of stairs at the Bank of America building to raise money for first responders coping with PTSD, and is a friendly neighbor to all. We should all feel a great sense of pride in this young Brisbane resident, and I'd like to express my gratitude to both Nancy and Chaya for their contributions to the Brisbane community. Lastly, I want to touch on the fires that have been burning throughout the state and our own fire we experienced a few weeks ago. On October 10th, a fire started on San Bruno Mountain at 10:50 a.m. Named the King's Fire by the incident commander, it burned only 11 acres and progressed up the mountain. Thankfully, our first responders were able to contain the fire within 30 minutes due to quick work amongst firefighters who responded from all over the area, in addition to crews from North County Fire with Station 81 and the city's new Wildland E681 engine, who was the first on the scene. Together, the responders created 2 fire breaks, which prevented the fire from spreading. I want to take these last couple of minutes to remind everyone here and watching at home to sign up for SMC alerts so you can receive emergency alerts from the city. This is the system that the city will use in the event of an emergency. So go to smcalert.info to get signed up, or you can text 94005 to 888-777. I was pleased to hear that the county recently funded a Countywide Tool, which is essentially a map of the county broken down into smaller zones, taking into account each city's individual evacuation process and plan. This allows for a coordinated flow of information and for those responding to requests for mutual aid and to get accurate and quick read on how to effectively assist the requesting agency in an emergency situation or evacuation order. The Countywide Tool is already in the finalization phase, where fire and police agencies have been working collaboratively prior to its launch. In closing, it's these type of efforts that remind us we're in extremely good hands and that no matter what the future brings, we'll be there to take it on together. As you may have noticed, we haven't spent a ton of time focusing on financials this evening. And seeing as the city is in good financial health and every time we discuss the budget, half the audience falls asleep, we decided to keep tonight's presentation on the lighter side. So you're welcome. Of course, if you have any questions pertinent to the budget, city staff is here to answer your questions and to get you the information that you're looking for. As my year as mayor comes to a close, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve you. I've enjoyed every minute of this journey and look forward to serving on the city council for another 3 years. Thank you for sitting patiently through this presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have. In the event you stump me, I may call on my city staff to assist. And after we conclude with questions, I invite you to stay and enjoy refreshments, mingle with neighbors. So, is there anyone out there with a question? I think we might have a microphone somewhere. We can hand it off to you. Any takers? Okay, you're making my job really easy tonight. Well, thank you everyone for coming, and I'll be here if you want to ask any questions in person.